your Uncle Lyte Burly, 52 block practitioner. I stay away from the word master. You know what I'm saying? I like Sifu and Sensei, but I'm no master of 52, but I am a practitioner. This is another episode of Coffee and Mary Jane. We have our Mary Jane, we have our coffee, and we have somebody on the panel today, a dope melanated martial artist that's making waves in the martial art world and putting the spotlight on African martial arts. So, my good brother, please introduce yourself to the people and let them
All
know
right,
who you
salute,
are.
brother, salute. Thank you so much for that warm welcome.
Mhm.
I wonder if I'm actually doing all that stuff. I'm just doing what I can. I'm doing what
Well,
I
we
can.
talking. We if you ain't doing it, you're gonna be doing it soon. I
Yeah,
feel
that's
you.
right. That's
I
right.
feel
I'm doing what I can in my community. But for those of you all that don't know me, I'm brother Rob. I am on YouTube, Ijakadi African Martial Arts, or
you.
online AfricanMartialArts.com. So for
Hmm.
me, my passion is using martial arts as a means to transmit culture, right?
Okay.
And so to help kind of redefine who we are as African people, not really redefine, but really help us to remember who we are,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so bringing that remembrance back, to the culture. And so
Okay.
I do that through the martial arts, right? I do that through the
Okay.
martial arts, teaching the kids
Hmm.
in my area, man. It's kind of my passion. So, and I just
Okay.
like to
That's good.
share that. I like to share that
No,
with
no,
those
that's a good
online.
vehicle. Sleeping Dragon, salute Sleeping Dragon. No, that's a good vehicle. Like you know, there's always a lot of things that bring you into martial arts. One of the funniest things to me that's so true is that you're gonna be walking somewhere with your lady. Two guys are gonna jump out the alley, say something slick. You're gonna go into your like we all come in thinking like, and so we want to be ready for that moment. But to say that, your vehicle of martial arts is to wanting to broaden the remembrance and the information on culture is highly noble, sir. We give you a salute around here. That's a noble
Yeah.
thing, man. Noble
Appreciate
thing. Okay, well, we shoot it sharp and straight from the hip here, but no hidden questions and nothing like that. But we definitely like to build on martial arts and separating what may be like effective to what could be just good for the culture. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like, and so so everybody involved understands what they're getting into. Like, so if you want to be a fighter, there's certain things that you should be learning and certain things that may not help you on the path. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So we
Yeah,
we just we over here we do that. But
yeah.
our first question for you is
Yes, brother. Let's go. Let's get into
yeah.
it.
So, what is your martial art background, and what got like besides what you said, what you got you started? What is your martial art background? Like, what have you dabbled in?
Oh my gosh, that's a
And
loaded
break it
question,
down.
man.
Break it down. We here for it. We got time. We got
So
time today.
yeah, no, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, so like a lot of folks, I started out as a kid.
Okay.
I don't know, I was 8, 9 years old doing kung fu, and kind of grew up in the Bruce Lee era, and so obviously always inspired by a lot of the guys we watched on TV and so
Hmm.
forth. But started out in Northern Praying Mantis Kung Fu. Later
Okay.
on in high school, I transitioned. So I'm over 40 years old now. So for those that don't know, so this goes back 30 years in terms of training.
Hmm.
But yeah, then branched out into Wing Chun, kind of in
Okay.
kind of high school phase, and started
Okay.
that training. Did Muay Thai, did Krav Maga, did all your name brand martial arts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. All the yeah.
Yep, yep. Eventually got into Jeet Kune Do, and that's
Hmm.
that's that's generally where I found a very much of a home in
Okay.
terms of teaching and training and studying. And so I also teach Jeet Kune Do, and
Hmm.
so part of that whole concept really, and if you know much about Bruce Lee, which a lot of people
Yeah.
do,
Definitely.
the whole idea is to really express yourself and be who you are, right? And so,
Right.
looking at that, like it was really important. If you ever seen a Bruce Lee movie, is highly, uh, Chinese culture is huge in that, right? It's
Yes.
usually Bruce Lee versus, like, the Chinese are getting bullied or picked on, right? And
Hmm.
usually Bruce Lee's got to go and save the day.
Yes.
And so that inspired me. So I'm like, well, geez, I can't really, I teach Jeet Kune Do, and it's a phenomenal martial art, but I'm like, well, where our martial arts, as a person of African
Okay.
descent. And
Good
so
questions. Good questions. Uh-huh.
and and so for me, that led me on a journey to really understand that whole process, and really come to found what I do now in terms of Ijakadi, African martial arts. And really it's just kind of my expression
Yes, that's
of the
good.
African martial arts. And so but culture is the biggest thing for me. Yeah, because anybody can kind of teach you how to punch and kick nowadays. There's a lot of people that are very good at kicking, punching, and very skilled martial artists. But
Yes.
beyond your fist, right? Beyond your foot, what is your goal? Is that all you really care about? Is
Okay.
being able to knock
Okay.
somebody out? So
Okay.
that's kind of the journey that I'm on.
Real talk. Real talk. I was told, and you know, if you looked at martial arts like a tree, the smallest branch is that you can whip somebody out in a fight. Like that's the smallest thing you get from the whole martial art journey. So that is very true, like a punch and a kick. But what goes beyond that, why a punch and a kick? That's good. That's good. So with Jeet Kune Do, what kind of drew you in over Wing Chun? Because they're kind of almost pretty much the same a little bit. Like that, Jeet Kune Do is pretty much, Bruce's expression of
Yeah.
his Wing Chun background and stuff. So what drew you in with Jeet Kune Do over Wing Chun?
Well, for me, as if you can't tell already, it's more than kicking and punching, and so it is the philosophy to be,
Mm.
that really kind of drew me in, right? The idea of kind of expressing who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and went through a real tough time in my life,
Okay.
and that idea of self expression really helped get me through that difficult time. And so it's just been a journey, and throughout my life, I've had the chance to train with a lot of people, and very good martial artists, which I'm
Okay.
grateful for. So, but yeah, it's just been that's what it was. It's just a philosophy,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that led me to where I am today.
So we got Jeet Kune Do, Wing Chun. Those are some strong arts to have behind you. You ever did any boxing or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
do anything. I don't really care what it
There
is.
you go.
So if somebody
Yeah.
wants to box, let's box. If they want to kickbox, let's kickbox. If
There
you want
you
to
go.
roll, let's roll. I don't really
So
care.
there
Like
you
let's
go.
let's
There,
let's
oh,
throw
yeah.
hands. I don't,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah. The attitude of a warrior. I like it.
Doesn't matter. Pick your
Okay.
poison. Let's go.
All right. Well, question number two. What made you decide to put a spotlight on African martial arts as your thing?
Yeah. So I think, I guess back in 2018 and into the early 2000s with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, there
Okay.
was a huge spotlight on um, equality, right, and justice, and these kind of things for people of African descent. And so we all kind of felt that to some degree or another. And really, it's been a journey all my life um, to understand who I am, right?
Okay.
Obviously, Jeet Kune Do is a part of that process, but that wasn't the end,
Okay.
in a sense. And so for me, it's like, okay, JKD is great, but who am I beyond that, right?
Uh-huh.
Who am I beyond that as a person of African descent? And what is going to be my impact? What do I want to, what impact do I want to make in this world 400, 500 years from now? You know what I mean? Like, is my goal just for my purpose to extend just the duration of my lifetime? And so
Uh-huh.
for me, I want to impact that goes beyond just a single life, which is my
Okay.
own, right? So it's really just a calling for a higher purpose.
Mhm. Oh, that's deep. Deep. Well, when you get the call, you gotta answer the phone, man. You
For
can't leave the
sure.
phone ringing.
For
That's right.
sure.
When you
For
get that
sure.
call, you gotta answer the phone. Um, what do you feel about African martial arts being the source of all martial arts?
I think there needs to be more information about African martial arts, right? There's not a lot
Mhm.
well known about it. And I think in general, with regards to this is just my opinion, with regards to African culture, there's not a lot known about it,
Mhm.
And for many of us, particularly here in the diaspora, here in America, we don't know much about our ancestry, as far as where we come from and our culture. The culture that we kind of have, as beautiful as it is, it's got some issues, right? It is a product of our trauma, right? Over
Okay.
the course of slavery and Jim Crow and black codes, and that has created to a large extent and influenced our culture. And so part of it is moving from that to understanding who we were and who we still are before all those things happen, right? All the trauma and things like that. So it's a healing journey more so than anything.
Okay.
um, I don't
Okay.
know if that answered your question, but
No, 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 definitely, definitely. Like martial arts is a healing journey. Like this,
yeah,
let's not get it twisted. I think a lot of, if I was president, it'd be, mandatory for every man to sign up for martial arts just for the discipline factor
yeah, for
alone.
sure. Yeah,
I just seen a TikTok video today of a lady dragging herself, like doing the worm, and the caption was, when you don't want to go to the gym, but you got to go. It's those moments where the greatness happens. When with all of the training I do, there's many mornings I wake up like, I don't want to do this shit today, but somehow I end up out there anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I love it,
You know what
brother.
I'm
I
saying?
love it.
Somehow I end up in front of the bag or doing something somehow, some way. So that's part of the thing, like getting, because that leads to other areas in life where life is going to challenge you
That's
more
right,
than
brother.
just a punch. So that ability to push through is priceless.
Yeah,
Besides the fight itself.
for sure, for sure.
All right.
What I will say, what I do love about, because since you're on that topic, one
Mm-hmm.
thing I do love is just your creativity in the
Mm-hmm.
world of martial arts. Like I'm like, some of the stuff that you're putting out, like how are you creating new stuff all the time, like new drills, new ways of doing stuff, new application. I'm like, man, this brother is like, he's got that mind that just, so shout out to you,
Thank
bro,
you.
first of all, for
Appreciate you,
being
man.
in the game as long
Appreciate
as you
you.
have, and then still bringing out new stuff, like
It's crazy,
you're
right?
not. Yeah,
Sometimes I look and I was like, and I think that I've touched on everything. Like, what more could I really say? Like, do you get to a point
Mhm.
where you run out of things to talk about? And I see other martial artists, they're doing it. Like one dude, I went to his page and he got a video talking about what to do when somebody grabs your hair.
Yeah.
I said, see, this brother's running out of information. He
Exactly.
started to scratch the bottom of the
Yeah,
barrel with that one
yeah,
right there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so with me, one of my biggest secrets, and this ain't for everybody, not promoting it, but I smoke a lot of weed. So I think because of my connection to the Mary Jane, I stay fresh with trying to create different ways to train, because the more simpler you make it, the easier it is for the brain to digest it. One of the most unnatural things we do as humans is fighting, and I think
Yeah,
we
for
forget
sure.
that. Just because you can get mad, you think
Hmm.
we were
Hmm.
actually built to fight. Our hands weren't made to ball up and punch each
Yeah,
other in the
that's
eye.
right.
Our
That's right.
legs weren't made for kicking.
That's right. That's right.
All of this stuff is what we decided to do, trying to deal with each other in a large group. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So, and it's all good. But like I said, the discipline is the greatest out of all of it. But all right.
Yeah.
Question 4.
Yes,
Who are
sir.
the teachers? Like, what teachers do you give credit to? Because I always say great men come from great men. So, who are your teachers that you tag that really changed your life?
Oh, wow. There's quite a few. So I would say, just starting from the beginning, right? My first
Hmm.
instructor was seafood guru Tracy Fleming. He is
Okay,
a northern praying mantis.
I think I
Uh,
heard that name before. I think I've heard that.
probably have. I
Okay,
think he was down in Florida for a while,
okay,
and trained down there. But next to him would be John Kang, is
all
my
right.
first Wing Chun instructor. Sifu Don Presto,
Mm-hmm.
also he's also Wing Chun. In the JKD world, Mick Thornton,
Okay,
who's out in Philly, and Kevin Beal, who's down in North Carolina. Outside
salute,
of them, in the African martial arts, I would say for sure Professor Mo. So first of all, shout out to
Professor
the
Mo.
first of all, shout out to the
Say
52
Mo.
Block Federation.
Right. Salute to
Make sure,
Sensei Mo.
yeah, and for sure, make sure y'all check them out as well. But in addition to Professor Mo, I would also say Balagoon Ojatade
Okay.
down in Atlanta. I only
Mm-hmm.
got a chance to train with him, on one occasion, but the impact that he made to show me really truly what African martial arts are and the spirit of African martial arts was profound. So he does a warrior class every Sunday as well. online. So, but yeah, those were the folks that really made the most impact in my life, from the beginning up until this point.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And from uh did you get different things from each teacher? Like what were, like, what were some of the things did you get from the teacher? Like he was one was real more focused on the fight itself, and he was focused on the spirit thing. Like what different aspects did you gather from these men?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's so much, right? So I'll start with like Sifu Dan. So Sifu Dan is Wing Chun, but I met him in Okinawa. So like we trained in Wing Chun, but I also fought out there. I did a kickboxing match out there. I had a chance to go to Hong Kong. I went to like Ip Chun school, and I got traveled, been to Korea, so had the chance to train at all these locations, but a lot of that was because of my instructorship with my Wing Chun Sifu.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I got, in that regard. And then here stateside with my JKD instructors. I mean, they're just lethal. They're
Okay.
just brutal, right? I mean, what they can do, not just empty hand, but with any kind of tool, whether it's a blade or blunt object, blunt weapon, right? Just the abilities and things they can do with the tools are really impressive. So I think the thing that has made me is just the variety of individuals I've had to train with and chance to meet. I've been to Africa, I've been to a
Oh,
lot of the
excellent.
places around the world, and so yeah, it's all shaped me. But
Hmm.
again, on the African martial arts, I've what I've gotten really, like I said, with Baba Balagoon was just the spirit of African martial arts, which that's really the important aspect to me.
Okay.
With what I do in Ijakadi, I'm not trying to reinvent martial arts. We're not trying to reteach people how to throw a punch. There's only so many ways you can punch, right? There's only so many ways I can throw a straight punch. Only so many ways I can throw a curve punch, right? But my goal is to really teach the principles. I kind of compare
Okay.
it to mathematics, right? Every day, a student can come to me and I can teach them, okay, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you come to me tomorrow, I'll teach you 3 plus 3 equals 6. And
Hmm.
7 plus 7 equals 14, so forth and so on. But the
Yeah.
student never learns how to do math. They never learn how to add. All they learn is how to memorize formulas. And so
Hmm.
what I'm trying to do is to transmit and teach people the concepts. And then once you
Okay.
understand the concept, then you can develop whatever technique suits your situation, whatever you need, you need to defend yourself,
Very deep. Very
right?
deep.
So
Very
so
deep.
that's
Very
that's the
deep.
idea.
I believe in that too.
Let's
I believe in situational teaching does a very big disservice to fighting.
yeah,
And I think like what you're saying, learning the concepts and fundamentals would do you a better thing in a real fight. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
The fundamental of balance can help you big time in the fight over 101 techniques that you're not sure are going to work the way they said they're going to work on this person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
so that's a it's kind of the way I think that. I like
Yeah,
that.
no,
I like
absolutely,
that.
bro. No, I mean it's not like I say, it's not. I'm not trying to reinvent anything, but so a lot of martial artists like yourself are doing that, and so
Okay.
it's a beautiful thing.
Facts. All right. Have you ever had to use any of your martial techniques in real time?
No, which I'm
Excellent.
grateful for. Outside of like kickboxing fight, right? I mean, but
Hmm.
that's not.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
that's
that's.
still that's
I mean,
still
it's an
that's
amateur
still
fight,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
an
yeah,
amateur
yeah,
fight, so yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
still different than
I
sparring,
count,
right?
like, a lot of people will try to only count street fights. No, I count amateur fights too. Still a
Yeah.
fight. He's
Okay.
still
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
win, and you do sign a waiver
Yeah.
before every amateur fight to let you know that
Yeah.
if you die in there, they hold no responsibility.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
what they're trying to say is you can die in there.
Exactly. Basically.
just trying to say, like, it could. It's an experiment that could go all wrong for
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
and if it does, we don't want no responsibility. So
Exactly.
please sign this waiver. So
Exactly.
when you sign that waiver, you are signing the fight. So
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
still.
So yeah, I mean, I had to make sure what I was doing worked, right? And so
Yeah,
like, it's one thing to spar, which I love sparring. I
yeah,
spar
sparring
with
is good.
everybody. Yeah, I see your sparring videos. I think we
I
talked
love
last week.
sparring.
I was
Sparring
like,
is that's the only way you can keep your sword sharp. In this
yeah, that's
game, you
right.
gotta
That's right.
stay in the mix. You know,
That's
it's the
right, for sure.
simulation.
Yeah. So, but yeah, fighting is a lot different, right? And
Yes,
that experience is a lot different. The guy's trying to
yes,
knock your head off.
yes.
There's no,
No
that's
other feeling.
no other feeling.
It's no
Yeah,
other
I can't
feeling.
describe it.
Yeah, it's undescribable, and that's why it
Yeah,
must be done to
yeah,
kind of put a real edge on your martial art. Because the
yeah,
guys that haven't really been into a fight teaching
yeah,
these so-called deadly techniques is like, you're teaching something you haven't experienced, which is
yeah.
that's usually a no-no in the world of experience. Because
Agreed.
even a cop that
Mhm.
gets to use pepper spray, they pepper spray you so you know what you're doing to the next person. They electric shock you so you know what you do when you pull your taser out.
Mhm.
So to be someone that hasn't been in that world and then try to teach people about that world is really, to me, the definition of the kung fu hustle. And it's big.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
big.
It's huge. It
It's
really
huge.
is. It is huge.
It's a big money making machine that you don't want to go against. I don't want no parts, Aga. They'll get you canceled. I don't want to destroy no fantasies. I ain't trying to burst no bubbles. Okay. My next question is, when did you learn the 52 blocks? Like, when did that come on your radar?
Yeah, so 52 came on my radar probably about 3 to 4 years ago. Well, longer than that. I already had heard about 52, and like many of us, kind of growing up, you do slap boxing with your
Yep.
cousins, with your friends, and stuff like that, and you learn a little bit as you grow up, but really getting plugged in with the 52 Block Federation really helped me, progress in that regard, right? In
Okay.
terms of 52. So I wouldn't say, like you said earlier, I'm not a not a master, so I'm still learning, right? And so I
Hmm.
never, for me, my whole thing is I never claim to be a master of anything necessarily, right? I can teach you what I do, right?
Exactly.
And so and really what I do, and a lot of and I'm not the first one to do this, a lot of us are integrating, right? We're blending
That's right.
52 blocks with capoeira, right?
That's
With
right.
other African martial arts or African centered martial arts, right? I
Mhm.
understand 52 is African American in the sense that it,
Yeah.
it came here, from Black Americans here in the States, but we are integrating a lot
That's
of
right.
these arts
As you
together.
should.
So yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of what we're doing, right? So a lot of the footwork that I do, a lot of the footwork I do is capoeira, and so when I teach my students, like if I'm, when I teach my students and I'm doing a certain footwork movement, well, it's like, it's not Wing Chun, it's not JKD, like what do I call it? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's kind of the other aspect that led me to do this, was because I needed to call it something, because otherwise, you're gonna if you teach it and you tell people, "Hey, I'm doing this footwork movement," and you call it JKD, everybody online is gonna say, "Oh no, that's not JKD. You're a
Yeah.
fraud."
They'll come for you, boy.
They'll
They'll
come
come
for
for
you.
you.
They come for
Yeah.
you real
They'll come
quick,
for you.
right?
Yeah.
But then, and I teach it. So then I teach it, and I say, okay, well, this is just my art. This is my system. I call it Ijakadi. It's African centered martial arts. And then they tell me that, oh no, you got that from something else. It's like, well, I
Yeah.
mean, you can't win either way. Like,
Exactly.
but it's
Exactly.
all good. I love the, love or hate. It's all good. I appreciate it. My goal is to stay focused on my mission, my purpose, which is
That's
to
right.
transmit culture and to help my community. So that's about
What's
it.
the meaning behind the name?
Oh yeah, Ijakadi is a Yoruba term. Means combat,
Okay.
struggle, wrestle, right? War, right? And so that's the concept, really. And so there is actually a Yoruba martial art called Ijakadi as well. Okay, and this
Hmm.
is what I do is different than the traditional Yoruba martial art. But
Okay.
that's what the name means. Is struggle, wrestle, right? And so it just is a name that kind of fit what I was going after, because it's not a system based off of just one thing. It's not just striking. It's not just grappling. It's, we use headbutts. We use anything that works, right? But
Right.
it's a principle based martial art, right? In terms of what I teach, it's principle based. In the sense that it's an art, science, and philosophy. I always tell people that it's an art in the sense that, yeah, there's physical techniques. I have straight punches and I got curve punches. I got straight kicks and I got curve kicks. There's only two ways to throw a punch or a kick. You either go straight
Right.
or you can throw a curve, right? And so we have that, right? We have a science, right? It means that the system is based on, physics, right? It's based off mathematics, right? And African centered in that regard, okay?
Yeah.
Philosophy is focused on the principles of Ma'at and Pan African in the sense that it's focused on unity of
Mm.
African people, right? Bringing people together, right? So that's the idea, that's the principle, and what it's kind of based off of. But I got a bunch of videos that go into all of the deeper details of that.
Mm, yeah, that's pretty powerful. I like that. Like everything has to have its meaning, especially if it's a name. If
Yeah.
with me, Burley comes from Charlie Burley, one of the great boxers who never got his chance to shine. So I kind of like, look, I'm gonna borrow his name and try to bring some light to it. Great
Yes.
boxer. Looked like he
Yes.
could have been my father. I'm saying looked like he could have been my daddy,
Maybe a
but
spiritual father in some way.
yeah,
Maybe a
spiritual
spiritual
father for
father.
sure. I lived through Charlie Burley.
That's right.
Okay, and my last question would be, what is your hopes for the for African martial arts? Like, where you see, what would you like to see for it to do in the near future?
To be honest with you, I don't have any hopes necessarily for
Okay.
anything, whether African martial arts or otherwise. I think because what happens is a lot of times we hope for something, and when that thing doesn't happen,
Hmm.
right, it can knock us off our path or it knocks us off our journey. I think the only thing we can hope for is for ourselves, right? And so
Okay.
I think the only thing you can hope for in life really is to do what you're called to do, regardless of the results, right? So I can put this out, I can put out my content, I can spread, my passion for African martial arts and call the community to be, more African centered, to refocus on our values and culture. But if nobody does that, right? Um, I'm still going to do that, right? I'm
Yeah.
still going to follow my purpose, and because that's what I'm called
Bingo.
to do. And so
Bingo.
for me, regardless of the results, regardless of what I hope for or don't hope for, I mean, yeah, it'd be great if more people trained and all these things, but I just want to follow my purpose, man. Follow my calling. That's it, regardless of the
Wow.
results. You
Okay,
know.
brother, you done dropped some deep bombs on us today. You came ready. You came ready. Calm, direct. I like it. Like the part of being a fighter is studying body movements.
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
at what my opponent is doing. When I move, does his eyes blink too much? Does he
Yeah.
look nervous? Does he look relaxed? Is he overzealous? Like all of those things. It's like the scan, the probe is happening,
I
and
know, man.
I get a very detailed man and with a man with a deeper understanding of martial arts over is just a punch and a kick. And this is what Bruce Lee said. He said, when I started, a punch was just a punch and the kick was just a kick. But then a punch wasn't just a punch and the kick wasn't just a kick. It became deeper. It became the
Yeah.
spiritual thing. And very few martial artists can make that jump, because, putting hands on another man is kind of attractive sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For
Knowing
sure,
that,
bro.
if things get
Yeah.
thick, you could put them together.
That's
It's
right.
a nice thing. But my teacher used to always tell me to eat, it's easy to turn on, hard to turn off though.
Yes,
You know.
yes, it
So,
is. It
you
is.
know,
But I think in training, if you train properly and you have a proper, cognitive, mental, spiritual understanding of the martial art, you're able to walk with confidence,
okay.
in the sense that not that, oh, I can go beat somebody up, but I'm not worried about, somebody beating me up more so, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah,
the thing, right?
yeah.
And so, and I realize anything can happen, right? It's no guarantee. You could be the best martial artist in the world and
Doesn't
still,
matter.
it
Any
doesn't matter,
given
right?
Sunday. Any
Any given
given
second,
Sunday.
yeah. So, anything can happen to anybody, but it does help you to know that, hey, at least, I have a fighting chance. At least I'm not defenseless,
That's
you know what
it.
I'm saying? So that's
That's
it,
it. That's
you
it.
know?
That's it in a nutshell. Is that the winning and losing are so far so
Mhm.
unimportant than the will to act.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
exactly.
saying? The will to act. If you know something, you are way more in the right percentage to have the courage.
Yeah,
Because you got to feel, like I always tell people, courage is birthed through fear. Like if you're not scared, you can't be courageous.
that's right. That's
You
right.
being courageous is being scared but doing it anyway.
Yep. Yep.
That's the definition of courageous.
Yep.
So, if you're not scared, you're not courageous. So, You know, even before every sparring match I have, like I do seminars and spar everybody at the end. There's a good chance that somebody can hit me with a good shot and drop me
Yeah.
right on camera,
Yeah.
and that can mess up the fantasy, right? You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I go in thinking about that. That's a nervous thing in my mind,
Yep.
but that's
Yep.
also the fire of like, yeah, you're not going to land shit. And if you thought you was, you're finna find out why I'm Lyte Burly.
That's
But
right.
it's that fear that I like, because it gives me a bridge to cross. Like, I
Yeah.
think if I stop feeling that, I probably may be on the borderline of psychopath or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you
Yeah.
stop feeling
Yeah.
that fear, it's like, oh, I think I'm gonna have to stop doing this. You know, so
It's good to hear that you know someone as yourself, because like I say, I look up to guys like yourself, you know,
salute.
Professor Mo, my instructors, Baba Balagoon, right? And so all you guys, right? I really look up to you guys because you've been in the game so long, and so it's very humbling to hear that even now, right? Even though you've been doing it for so long, it's still there, right? That's
That's
still
right.
a little bit of that, you know. But
That's
you
right.
still go through it, and you still do what you got
Yeah.
to do and handle your
Yeah.
business. So
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't stop in this path.
yeah,
As PM Burley, one of my supporters and students and great martial
yeah,
brothers, that's wrench ganged up. He just left a comment. He says, "Swim is swim, and fight is fight." So it's,
facts,
you know,
facts. I love
it's
it.
part of the thing. Like, you know, you will be challenged, but with each challenge you get better. Even Musashi, the great swordsman, he was chopping heads off, and then he started saying, you know what, I'm gonna use a wooden sword, because once I kill a man, he can never learn from his mistake. Like, I'm taking away
Yeah.
his ability to learn, because he's gone. So he started boop bopping people in the head with wooden swords, sending them back to the village with lumps on their head, and the humiliation, which led to the learning of, I need to get better. Maybe I don't need the challenge, man. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe,
Yeah.
you know. So all of that is what plays into the thing as you get older as a martial artist. Like, I can say in the beginning, when people challenged me, definitely I was trying to hurt you, like, just because I was emotionally attached to, like, how dare you challenge me.
Mhm.
Now it's like, it is what it is. Another
Yeah.
young upstart. But when you got as much time in the game as I got, I don't know. You're begging on you know you're looking
I
for a
know.
miracle,
I know.
because
I know. I know.
mathematics matters, and I got years in this game, so it's going to take somebody fully experienced to knock me off my tilter. So, but you know, that's part of the game, and I think it helps young warriors. Like, I see a lot of, even in boxing, I see
Yeah.
coaches with fat bellies talking about, give me another 20 push-ups, and it's like, why should he listen to you?
Yeah.
You're overweight and sloppy.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
why should this young warrior who wants to be a, king of warriors
Yep.
listen to you?
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
even though you got the information, look at the package. Like, so that's why I train every day too, because I want to be the point that a young warrior looks up to, and like, oh shit, I can go to that level.
Exactly.
I can
That's
be just like him. I can do it. Like he did it. That and being an example of, discipline, and not only just fighting, but fighting yourself, which
yeah.
is stop putting hamburgers and chocolate cake in your mouth. I did it though. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm
Same here.
I am
Same
not
here.
talking from a person who's been
Mhm.
24 on the good side. No, I walked on the side of Pepsi and chocolate cake. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I dance with the devils, but I'm here to tell you that discipline needs to be 360 in
Yeah.
this as a warrior, because
Yeah.
you can train all you want, but if your belly is full of chocolate cake, when I hit you with this
Yeah.
belly shot,
You don't feel
it's
it.
going to be different. It's going to
You
be
don't
different.
feel
So,
it.
it needs to be 360, and you sound like that type of brother. So we are honored to
Yes,
have you
sir.
come grace this episode of Mary Jane and Coffee. Please let these people know where they can find you. And he has a YouTube. So
Yes, sir.
everybody in the
Yes, sir.
chat, please give him a follow. Break it
Yes,
down.
sir. Yes, sir. Hey, appreciate it. First of all, I just want to thank, shout out, brother Tor Shakur. I know he
Salute.
sent me, yeah, salute, brother. He sent me an email and said, hey, you want to come on the live stream with Lyte Burly? I'm like, well, who is this guy? And so I hit up LB on Facebook and said, hey, do you know this brother? Like, what's going on? Like, is this legit or what? So I do want to shout out him and yourself for first inviting me onto your channel to talk to your audience and your followers. So salute, bro, to you. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, salute to the fam. He's very good
Yes,
at
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I see that.
connecting and bringing people together. He's very good at that. Salute
I
to
see
him.
that. Salute, brother. Thank you again so much for that. But yeah, so on YouTube, please, we are trying to grow on YouTube. The
Yes,
struggle is real,
that's right. That's
you
right. We
know.
with you.
But
We with you.
yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, but it's Ijakadi, African martial arts. You can just type it all on YouTube. Ijakadi, African martial arts. Just type it in the search bar. Please subscribe and share. I appreciate it. And then we're online on website is African martial arts, just all one word, africanmartialarts.com. So appreciate
Okay.
it, family, and thank you
In
so
the
much.
videos, you're breaking down the techniques too, right?
Yes, sir.
Like,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes,
you're
sir.
getting instruction, people. You know you got
That's
to
right.
give this man a follow. Don't
Yes,
play
sir.
around with this. Give
Yes,
this man
sir.
a follow. Even in the pre-recorded, if you don't catch this live and you catch it late and listen to it, go give this man a follow. Share his videos. We are connecting and building over here. Melanated martial arts. That's what MMA really stands for. Is melanated martial arts, not mixed martial arts. So salute to the MMA, the real brothers. Salute to the FBA. Salute to African martial arts. And this is another episode of Coffee and Mary Jane signing off. I'm Lyte Burly and my brother.
Brother Rob. Appreciate it, fam.
All right, we are done here.